Happy Friday. Welcome to Locked On Ducks. On today's podcast, we will be discussing how goalie Connor Hellebuyck could fit in with the Anaheim Ducks. He recently publicly requested a trade out of Winnipeg. That came as early as yesterday. We will talk about the NHL Network goalie rankings as well as prospect and pipeline rankings. And we will finish the show speaking about the timeline for Cutter Gauthier. We'll discuss some key dates and certain aspects that need to be met by those key dates with the Cutter Gauthier contract situation. All of that and a lot more coming up after this.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. Happy Friday, everyone. I hope everyone has a fun weekend planned. Only a few more weekends until the NHL preseason starts, and we can get back into the full swing of things and watch some Ducks hockey, which I am thrilled about. A massive news story has landed on our desks. Connor Hellebuyck, goalie for the Winnipeg Jets, has publicly requested a trade. Now, he originally privately requested a trade, and since then has not been traded. So he and his agent thought, hey, let's go public with this thing. And Connor Hellebuyck posted on Twitter or X, whichever you call it, that he has requested a trade out of Winnipeg. This will really hurt the Jets, but that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about the Winnipeg Jets. We are here to talk about how Connor Hellebuyck could fit into the Anaheim organization and what it would cost to get him. So let's jump into that. What exactly would it cost? Goalies don't usually go, they're not usually setting, they're not usually receiving really high prospect players, high draft picks. That's usually not the going market for a goalie, but Connor Hellebuyck is Connor Hellebuyck. He is 33 years old. Okay, so he's got his legs underneath him for sure. He is definitely getting up there just a bit in age. I'm curious, and I would love to know your thoughts about this as well in the comments. I'm curious if Pat Verbeek will attempt to make a trade with Winnipeg to try and bring Connor Hellebuyck to the Anaheim Ducks. For me personally, I think it's kind of a no-brainer to at least throw an offer their way, to at least test the waters and see what you can get away with. Right now, what would that package look like coming from Anaheim, going to Winnipeg? Let's jump into that as well. Obviously, I think it would include Lucas Dostal. The bright side for Winnipeg in getting Dostal is he's 25, right? He's young, still coachable. He hasn't reached that old dogs can't learn new tricks phase just yet of his career. Still moldable and still, for the most part, a serviceable goalie, a very serviceable goalie, middle of the road. Not going to win you many games, might lose you a few games, but he's capable of putting on a wonder show and a masterclass on any given night. I think it would include Dostal going to Winnipeg, and it would include some draft capital as well. I don't know if Verbeek would be comfortable sending another player unless maybe it's a prospect that the Anaheim Ducks have taken a look at and said, you know what? With your skill set, with your size, we don't really have a need for you right now. So maybe it's Dostal, a prospect, and a pick. I'm more in the mindset that if Pat Verbeek were to attempt this, the package would look something like this. Dostal and 2 picks. I don't know where those picks would be. Right now, the market for a somewhat aging goalie is, a lot of teams are holding their cards to the chest. I don't know exactly how high those picks would be. I can try and ballpark it, but it would be Dostal and 2 picks. I think would at least I believe, get a counter offer from Winnipeg. It wouldn't be an offer that Winnipeg picks up the phone, says, "Hi, Pat, how are you?" Pat spews his spiel about, "Hey, this is what we want. This is who we're going to give you." And then Winnipeg says, "Ha, click." I think that's an offer that Winnipeg would probably listen to, maybe decline, but I think it opens the door to maybe a counter offer, and it opens the door to negotiations. Do I think Pat Verbeek will do this? I think he will. I think when all is said and done with this Connor Hellebuyck situation, obviously either he's on the Ducks or he's in Vegas. Buffalo is another team that has been clamoring for Hellebuyck. They tried to trade for him back in the past as well and were turned away. I think when all is said and done with this Connor Hellebuyck situation, I believe you will hear that the Anaheim Ducks were in the running for him. I believe you'll hear that there was an offer made. Now, this brings us to so many more questions, and this really gets us into the rabbit hole here. Does Hellebuyck improve the team? Short term, yes, absolutely, 100%. If the Ducks had Connor Hellebuyck last season in net, man, you would really have to try hard to convince me they wouldn't have won that Vegas series. You would really have to try hard to convince me that the Ducks would not have made an appearance in the Western Conference Finals last year if they had Hellebuyck in net instead of Dostal. I think Hellebuyck is that good. So his stats last year was a small step back for Hellebuyck. Could that be to age? Could that be to just wear and tear? Those things are possible. It is possible. He posted a 2.86 goals against average, good, and an 895 save percentage, which obviously is quite a few clicks below his career totals as of right now. But man, next season, Hellebuyck, I can say this confidently, will be a top 5 goalie in the NHL. Most likely top 3. Dostal, middle of the road. Every ranking I've seen and in my own rankings have him middle of the road at around 14 to 16, somewhere in there, interchangeably. Jumping from a middle of the road goalie to potentially a top 3, man, it's a no-brainer for Verbeek to at least try. We talked about this on the show yesterday. I came up with I kind of associate Verbeek right now with a man with nothing to lose. With nothing to lose. I think the situation with you bring the Leo situation, the Cutter Gauthier situation, he's feeling the pressure. He is feeling the pressure. This pretty much, man, I don't want to get too crazy and say too many crazy things, but I will say what I believe in. I do believe if Hellebuyck is on the Anaheim Ducks next year, I mean, they're a shoo-in for the playoffs. They are a 100% shoo-in to make the postseason if they have Hellebuyck in net next year. Without a doubt. From there, anything can happen in the postseason. It's a 7-game series. I would fancy them to make a trip to the Western Conference Finals if they had Hellebuyck next year. Now, obviously, there's still cap space that needs to be moved, but trading Dostal, who's on 6.5 AAV right now, and a few picks, whether that's 2 picks, whether that's 3 picks, whatever the case may be, I think we're going to hear something very shortly about how Anaheim is in the mix for Connor Hellebuyck. I don't know if they'll land him. There's a few other teams around the NHL I think can offer just a bit more than Anaheim right now. This also might not be at the forefront of Verbeek's mind. I mean, I could just be talking nonsense here. I don't think I am, but there's a possibility. There's a possibility Verbeek woke up yesterday, took a look at the news, said, "Oh, that's interesting. Hellebuyck requested a trade." And then he clicked to the next channel, or he kept scrolling on his phone. He said, "Oh, all right." It's possible this isn't at the forefront of his mind, which I think would be a mistake, because I think we saw Dostal last year was supposed to be another season of Dostal improving, of Dostal really showing that the Anaheim Ducks can win because of him, that he can be one of the sole reasons the Ducks win a game on any given night, and he didn't show it. He did not show it. He if anything, he kind of plateaued. And at age 25, to be plateauing in your career, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. We've got a fantastic show today. I appreciate all the comments as well. My dog is in the background. She might speak up at some point. I apologize on that. Maybe she feels a certain type of way about what the Anaheim Ducks should do with the Connor Hellebuyck situation. I don't know. Still to come on the show, we will talk the NHL Network's top 10 goalies. Lucas Dostal was left off that list. We will talk prospect rankings as well. We will end the show, like I promised yesterday, looking at a timeline of Cutter Gauthier. When should you be worried? When should I be worried? When should Pat Verbeek be worried? We'll discuss all that and a lot more. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Usually the biggest difference isn't someone doing more work. It's having somebody who knows exactly what needs to happen and helps everything run smoother. One great addition can have a ripple effect on everyone around them. When you find someone who brings the right skills, attitude, and experience, it makes the entire group better. That's why finding qualified candidates matters so much, and why tools like Indeed Sponsored Jobs can help make that process easier. Whether it's deadlines piling up, too much on one person's plate, or trying to scale something quickly, the right person can completely change how a team operates, and that's why getting in front of qualified candidates matters. So spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Welcome back to the pod. Happy Friday. I hope everyone has a fun weekend planned. I myself have a very busy weekend. I am moving. So the next time you see me, we'll be in a different studio. Our next show will be on Monday. However, if some news breaks over the course of the weekend, you can bet I'll be right here talking to you, telling you how I feel about it and how it affects the Anaheim Ducks. Fingers crossed something happens with Cutter Gauthier. Fingers crossed it's a little team-friendly. Call it 14-5 AAV and everyone walks home happy. I don't think that's going to be the case. However, I think this could drag on quite a bit longer. We will get to the Cutter Gauthier timeline towards the end of the show. Talk about some key dates when things need to happen, such as September 15th, which is looming and just a few weeks away. And we'll get all into that and a lot more. But really quick, the NHL Network released their top 10 goalies. They also released a prospect ranking, of which a few Anaheim Ducks made the list. But for the goalies, Dostal left off. And like I said in the first segment, I would leave him off too. I'm very worried about his career trajectory as of right now. You never want to be plateauing this early in your career or having a downswing in the career. I hope that we see throughout some preseason, getting another year under his belt, that things start to improve. I have yet to see Lucas Dostal prove to me that he can be the sole reason the Anaheim Ducks win a game on any given night. I've seen him show that he can be the reason the Ducks lose a game. And I hate to be harsh on him, but I've seen it with my own eyeballs. And that's all I know. So let's get into the NHL Network. Their rankings of all the goalies, not all the goalies, the top 10 keepers as of right now in the NHL. And Connor Hellebuyck, who we mentioned earlier, lands at number 2. He lands at number 2. Lucas Dostal does not make the list at 25 years old, which is a bit worrying as well. So Lucas Dostal misses out. Andrei Vasilevsky, obvious choice. Tampa Bay won the Vezina for the second time last season. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, won the Conn Smith back in 21. And then Hellebuyck, number 2. There he is. And I talked in the first segment of the show of what it would do to a team, what it would do to a franchise to go from a middle of the road goalie, right, all the way to a top 3 goalie in the NHL. It would do wonders, which is why, again, I'm not going to harp on this too much, but I really do believe Pat Verbeek's going to test the waters. I really do believe he will. Now, again, we spoke about it, took a small step back, Hellebuyck did last year. Just a small step back. Went 23, and 11, 2.86 goals against average, 895 save percentage in 57 games played. Not bad at all, right? But still just a small little step back. Still among the elite goalies in the game. Still would be a no-brainer for Pat Verbeek. In 24-25, won the Vezina for, I think that was the second year in a row he did so. And, that year he went 47, 12, and 3. Again, a no-brainer. Shesterkin with the Rangers comes in at 3. Sorokin for the Islanders at 4. Swayman for the Bruins at 5. Thompson for the Capitals at 6. Ottinger at 7 for the Stars. Vlader for the Flyers at 8. Wallstedt with the Wild at 9. And Dobis with the Canadians at 10. And Dobis did have a really, really impressive rookie season last year. Let's jump into some of the prospect rankings as well. The Anaheim Ducks are up there. They're up there. NHL Network has ranked them at 14. I think that's a bit low. I would have maybe had their prospects list, their U21, U23 list. Top 10. Yeah, not maybe near the top 5, but still within that 8 to 10 range. They have some studs in San Diego. They have some studs in the pipeline. They've got some real ballers here that I think will make a big difference. Obviously, their draft pick, Klepov, I think could see some NHL ice time in this coming season. Leno and Hines are fortunately going to get some ice time. Unfortunately, on the other hand, this is very much a thrown to the wolves kind of deal for those two young players. It really is. Because they're most likely not going to be able to have Jackson Lacombe holding their hand right during the game and pointing where to go and things of that nature. They're going to kind of have to figure it out on themselves. Will they be able to get guidance from Lacombe in practice? Yes, obviously, but they're most likely not going to be top-line guys unless something drastically changes in the preseason, in training camp, things of that nature. Solberg and McQueen as well. I mean, McQueen up front, they've got real talent here. They've got real talent. And it's now up to the responsibility now lies with Coach Q, not Pat Verbeek, with Coach Q, with coaching these guys up correctly, having them develop correctly. It is a shame that they kind of have to get thrown to the wolves this early for guys like Leno. It does kind of, it itches at me. It is unfortunate, but that's the situation Anaheim's in. That's the situation you and I are in. Is that it's, hey, youngster, you ready? Okay. Get on out there. Good luck playing in front of 17,000 people. That's just the situation. So the prospect list for Anaheim comes in number 14. Again, I would have them anywhere from 8 to 10. Cutter Gauthier, the timeline. He posted an Instagram story yesterday. I've never clicked on something so fast. It was crazy. It was like Pavlov's dog situation. I see Connor Gautier's Instagram logo and I just click instantly. And he was just out on the golf course. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess maybe I thought Verbeek had gotten something done with him, but no, not the case. We'll talk the Connor Gauthier timeline in a little bit more after this. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing. Everything works in one place. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working towards the same goal, and that's true in sports just like it is in business. One thing that really stands out is how the Anaheim Ducks got everyone pulling in the same direction with the decision to extend Jackson Lacombe. It wasn't just one player or coach. It was a coordinated effort from across the entire organization that made that successful. The adjustment itself was important, but what really impressed me was how smoothly it was implemented. Everyone knew their role. Everyone was on the same page. And that's usually what separates good organizations from great ones. Great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Odoo is one platform to manage, grow, and scale your business. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Welcome back. Third and final segment of the pod today. We will be discussing the timeline for Connor Gauthier. One of the big dates to look for that, I don't think will actually come to fruition, but it's important I share it with you. It's important you're in the know about it. September 15th. That is the date that Cutter and the Anaheim Ducks can no longer agree to an 8-year deal. It would have to be 7 or less. I don't think Cutter's signing an 8-year deal, but however, had to make you aware. I have to be aware of these dates because maybe Verbeek had something up his sleeve. I don't know. But that is the date in which no longer can sign an 8-year deal. It would have to be 7 or less. So let's talk the rest of the timeline for Connor Gauthier. What does it look like if he holds out? Well, shoot, I'm getting goosebumps, not in a good way, thinking about what an Anaheim Ducks roster would look like on the ice in a competitive regular season game without Troy Terry, without Connor Gauthier. It's hard to fathom, but that's a real possibility for the Anaheim Ducks if the Connor Gauthier contract negotiations continue to slow at a snail's pace. And right now, that's what they're at. They're at a snail's pace. Verbeek has had plenty of time to get with his staff and decide what is a proper contract offer. They tried to sneak a fast one past Cutter with the four-year, $52 million deal, $13 million AAV. Cutter and his agent said, nope, no thank you. You can take that back. And actually, you know what? We'll take it, and we'll shred it on the way out. So now Verbeek's got a massive few weeks on his hands. I mean, these are some of the most important weeks for the Anaheim Ducks in a long time. Actually, not a long time with the Leo Carlsson situation that occurred just about a month ago. But you get what I'm saying. These are a massive 14, 15 days for the Anaheim Ducks ahead. You would like to have him sign before preseason so he can get out there and get his legs underneath him. It's been a really long summer. And obviously Cutter's not worried about it. He's posting pictures of himself on the golf course. If the Anaheim Ducks are not going to re-sign Cutter, if they are going to look for a trade partner for Cutter Gauthier, I would really like that to be sooner than later, right? Because right now, a lot of teams, they're getting ready for the preseason. They're starting to wind down their summer camps just a bit, and everyone's loading up and ready to go. All the rosters have been, for the most part, pretty much set. The guys in the locker room, some have moved on. There's some new blood in each locker room. Those guys are able to build chemistry with one another, build a camaraderie. And unfortunately, that hasn't been the case for the Ducks and Cutter Gauthier just yet. They've been kind of left on the sideline to watch all the other teams able to come together, learn about each other. I mean, this stuff does matter. You want the guys on your team to like each other. You don't want any bust-ups in the locker room or anything of that nature happening. Now, I did find it interesting, just to speak on that point very quickly. Lucas Dostal came out in support of Leo Carlsson's contract. He said that the guys were happy to see Leo get paid. And honestly, I believe Lucas Dostal. I believe he's telling the truth. I think the guys are happy to see Leo get paid. He's been such an important player for them that when one guy is able to rise and get a big contract, the other guys are happy for him. But that's not the situation with Cutter right now. Cutter hasn't put pen to paper on anything just yet. And that September 15th date, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but is still something to look at as a timeline of how these contract negotiations are going. The further we get along in August, about a week ago, before I started my first show, I was kind of thinking, hey, you know what? We're probably going to get a Gauthier extension announcement during the week of when I'm doing my first week shows, my first week of shows. We're probably going to get a contract extension, and I'll get to talk about that, and that'll be awesome. And I'll get to tell you how I feel about it, what the terms were, how it fits in with the salary cap, how it fits in with the roster as a whole. We haven't gotten that. And with each passing day that goes by, as we now inch closer to September, yeah, I'm a little more worried than confident about this situation. I don't know what Verbeek's focus is right now. Is it Gauthier? Right? Because it's been quite a few days now since Gauthier turned down that 4-year, $52 million offer. My biggest question is, why hasn't there been a second offer yet? Now, if you're gonna, if you would tell me, hey, Kyle, these things take time, they really don't. they really don't at all. 4-year 52. Okay, you decline. Verbeek walks back into his office. He's got a few advisors around him, a few analysts overlooking the salary cap, looking over the deal, saying, okay, here's what we can go up to. Hey, Pat, here's what we can offer Cutter next. This amount for this many years with this as a bonus and maybe an incentive here. Here's what we can offer him. Here you go. That probably happened within the span of a few hours, I would imagine. I don't know why there hasn't been another offer extended to Cutter Gauthier, and now I am worried. I hope I look foolish. I pray I look like a fool when I talk to you again on Monday. I pray that I look like a fool and I'm actually talking to you tomorrow, because after this show goes live, I'm hoping that I'll get the notification that Cutter is signed. I'm just not confident that's going to happen. So yes, worry level out of 10, I'm probably at a 7. I'm probably at a 7 right now with the Cutter Gauthier situation. Thanks for following along. Fantastic show today. I appreciate all of your comments, all of the criticism. I take it head on. I love it. Love the discussions in the comments as well regarding contract situations. And I will see you on Monday. Have a fantastic and safe weekend, everyone. Go Ducks.